Ever tasted a chicken parmesan bake that made your taste buds dance in delight? Welcome to the world of succulent chicken enveloped in a golden crust of parmesan and breadcrumbs, smothered in a rich, tangy marinara sauce, and crowned with a generous layer of molten, stringy mozzarella. This isn't just a recipe, it's an experience. A delightful symphony of flavors and textures that will tantalize your senses and leave you longing for more. Imagine the crunch of the breaded exterior giving way to tender, juicy chicken underneath. Picture the savory marinara sauce, its tanginess perfectly balanced by the creamy mozzarella. And the parmesan, oh the parmesan, its nutty, salty goodness permeates every bite, elevating this dish from mere comfort food to an unforgettable gourmet experience. So put on your apron, preheat your oven, and clear your kitchen counter. Get ready to embark on a culinary journey that will lead you to the best chicken parmesan bake you've ever tasted. The magic of any dish lies in its ingredients. And when it comes to the best chicken parmesan bake you've ever tasted, the ingredients are no exception. First off, we'll need 2 large, boneless and skinless chicken breasts. These are the stars of our show, providing a tender and juicy base for our flavorsome toppings. Next, we have our breadcrumbs. You'll want about a cup of these. They're going to give our chicken that irresistible crunch that makes chicken parmesan bake such a crowd pleaser. Of course, it wouldn't be chicken parmesan without parmesan cheese. We'll need about a half cup of freshly grated parmesan. The sharp, nutty flavor of this cheese is what gives our dish its iconic taste. Then we have our marinara sauce. About a cup of your favorite brand will do. This tangy tomato sauce will add a depth of flavor and a touch of sweetness that beautifully balances the savory elements of our dish. To add a bit of color and freshness, we'll also need a handful of fresh basil leaves. Basil adds a sweet and slightly peppery taste that goes hand in hand with the tomato and cheese. For seasoning, we'll need some salt and pepper to taste. A little goes a long way here, enhancing the flavors of all our other ingredients. And last but not least, we'll need a half cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. This will melt into a beautiful bubbly crust on top of our chicken, locking in all the flavors underneath. Remember, for the best results, always use fresh ingredients. Freshness makes a world of difference in the taste and texture of your dish. So, to recap, that's 2 chicken breasts, a cup of breadcrumbs, a half cup of freshly grated parmesan, a cup of marinara sauce, a handful of fresh basil, salt and pepper to taste, and a half cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. With these ingredients, we're set to create a tantalizing chicken parmesan bake. Now we dive into the heart of the matter, the preparation. First things first, let's preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. While our oven gets up to temperature, we'll start with the chicken. We've got boneless, skinless chicken breasts here, the star of our show. Let's season them generously with salt and pepper on both sides. Remember, flavor starts from the ground up, so don't skimp on this step. Next, it's time to set up our breading station. In one bowl, we have our all-purpose flour. In another, we have whisked eggs. Lastly, in the third bowl, we have a mixture of Italian breadcrumbs and finely grated Parmesan cheese. This is where our chicken will get its signature crispy, cheesy crust. Now pick up a chicken breast, dip it in the flour, shaking off any excess, then into the egg, and finally, coat it well in the breadcrumb Parmesan mixture. Repeat this process with each chicken breast, placing them on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Let's not forget about our marinara sauce. In a saucepan, heat some olive oil, then add minced garlic and cook until fragrant. Pour in crushed tomatoes, season with salt, pepper, and dried basil, then let it simmer. The longer it simmers, the more the flavors will meld together, creating a rich, hearty sauce that will make this dish truly unforgettable. And what's a chicken parmesan bake without a generous amount of cheese? We're using a blend of mozzarella and parmesan cheese here. The mozzarella will give us that ooey-gooey meltiness, while the parmesan will add a sharp, tangy flavor. Now that we have everything ready, it's time to assemble. Pour some of the marinara sauce at the bottom of a baking dish, arrange the breaded chicken on top, then pour the rest of the sauce over the chicken. Finish it off with a heap of our cheese blend. With our chicken ready, we're a step closer to our delicious bake. And now we're ready for the heat, the baking stage. This is where the magic happens, where our preparation springs to life and becomes the best chicken parmesan bake you've ever tasted. Let's start with the oven. Preheat it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the sweet spot for a chicken parmesan bake. It's just high enough to get that golden, crispy crust, yet low enough to keep the chicken tender and juicy. While the oven is coming up to temperature, let's talk about baking dishes. You're going to want something with high sides to contain all that delicious sauce and cheese. A good old-fashioned casserole dish will do the trick. Now, place your prepared dish in the oven and set the timer for 25 minutes. This time allows for the chicken to cook thoroughly, and for the cheese to melt into a gooey, mouth-watering top layer. Here's a tip. Keep an eye on the bake during the last 5 minutes. Every oven is a bit different, and you don't want to overcook it. You're looking for the cheese to bubble and brown slightly. That's the sign of a perfectly baked chicken parmesan. What if you're unsure whether the chicken is cooked? Here's an easy way to tell. Use a meat thermometer. The chicken is done when it reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember, let the bake rest for a few minutes before you dive in. It's tough, I know, but this allows all those flavors to meld and the cheese to set a bit. So, what's the best part about this baking stage? The aroma that fills your kitchen, the scent of bubbling marinara sauce, melting cheese and seasoned chicken. It's like an appetizer for the senses, stirring up anticipation for that first savory bite. And just like that, our bake is ready, warm, and inviting. The golden cheese, the tender chicken, the rich sauce, all baked to perfection and ready for you to enjoy. But hold on, we're not done yet. The presentation is up next, and trust me, it's worth the wait. A feast for the eyes is the prelude to a feast for the palate. And oh, what a feast we have in store. With our chicken parmesan bake fresh out of the oven, we are halfway through captivating our diners. Now it's time to take it up a level with a presentation that's as mouth-watering as the dish itself. Presentation, my friends, is not just about making the dish look pretty. It's about creating a visual story that complements the symphony of flavors and textures in our chicken parmesan bake. It's about setting the stage for the delightful culinary journey that awaits. Every detail matters and each plays its part in enhancing the dining experience. So let's get started. First, let's place our golden, crispy chicken parmesan bake in the center of a clean white plate. The contrast of colors will make the dish pop, and the simplicity of the plate will allow the bake to be the star of the show. Next, let's add a garnish, a sprig of fresh basil perhaps. Nestled next to our bake, it'll provide a pop of color and a hint of the fresh, aromatic flavor that's infused within the dish. Let's not forget a drizzle of rich, tangy tomato sauce on the side. This not only adds a vibrant splash of color but also gives a glimpse into the succulent flavors that are tucked inside the bake. And finally, a light dusting of Parmesan over the top. This final touch not only adds an extra layer of flavor but also gives a nod to the star ingredient in our dish. See how each detail contributes to the overall appeal of the dish? That, my friends, is the power of presentation. So there you have it. A chicken parmesan bake that not only tastes divine but also looks absolutely stunning. A masterpiece that's just as pleasing to the eyes as it is to the palate. Our chicken parmesan bake is ready to steal the show at any dining table. So there you have it. We've journeyed together through the tantalizing world of the best chicken parmesan bake you've ever tasted. We've delved into the importance of fresh ingredients, succulent chicken breasts, ripe tomatoes, aromatic basil, and of course, the star of the show, Parmesan cheese. We've navigated the preparation process from seasoning and breading the chicken to layering the ingredients and creating that mouth-watering bake. We've explored the baking process, the magic that happens inside the oven, and how it transforms our ingredients into a meal that's a feast for the senses. And finally, we've dived into the art of presentation because we all know that we eat with our eyes first. I hope you're inspired to try this recipe and share your experiences. Remember, cooking is an adventure, and every adventure is better when shared. Ready to surprise your taste buds with the best chicken parmesan bake you've ever tasted? Bon appétit!